Hey guys, so I'm doing a one take video today because I am cleaning and yeah, I realized I have eye makeup on from last night. I was so tired when I came in. I washed my face and stuff and I took my face makeup off, but I didn't get all my eye makeup off, but it's whatever because I am like trying to clean up today, everything but mopping the floors. So anyways, I went to do one take and talk to you guys about a couple of things. One being like how much so far things have been in pregnancy, because like we all know when you get pregnant there's going to be medical bills and like you're going to have hospital bills and all that stuff. But I thought, because I get a lot of questions about it from people that are trying to conceive or just in general, like even my friends in real life, they're like, I had no idea. And then another thing too is to kind of talk about, I've gotten a few messages from people from other countries, and too, like occasionally I'll see comments where people are like, thank God I live in the UK or Canada, and because our healthcare system's so different. I've had some messages though directly about like, what is the deductible thing I'm talking about, like with that ultrasound thing. So this is going to be, it might be long, but I'm going to cover those things. So hopefully I won't be out of breath. I tried to do this morning and I don't know why I kept sneezing and then I was all mucusy and then I kept gulping and I rewatched it and I was like, ew, I couldn't watch that because like yeah. Anyways, I thought I'd refilm it once I wasn't so gulpy. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to touch on is the deductible thing. But right before that, I want to give you all an update. Yesterday, my doctor's nurse called me like 3 times in the morning and I was so annoyed because I couldn't fall asleep till like 6 a.m. and I was trying to sleep longer, you know, since I didn't get that much sleep. And she called like 3 times within an hour and I was so annoyed. But they had called me the other day to say that specialist called and said I was a no-show, which is not true. I canceled the appointment and I verified I was canceling the appointment. So that pissed me off. And then I wasn't mad at the nurse because most people assume people are awake at 9 a.m. during the week. But she gets real nervous when she can't. And I think she thought because it was a specialist, it was like she was worried about like, we have to reschedule us because of course she doesn't know all my medical stuff or why I'm being sent to that specialist. And all my doctor told her was she would like me to still go, see if I can work out a payment plan with the hospital, because within the hospital is where that specialist is. And so I called them back today and told them no, I would not be, because the ultrasound is $700. So I would like, they're like, well, can't you just do a payment plan? There's a lot of principle behind this that I refuse to pay $700 for an ultrasound when out of pocket, because I haven't met my deductible yet, it's been only costing me $60 to $88 in that range. And for my 20-week big appointment where they check like a bunch of anatomy stuff, that one was only $150. So there's a lot of principle behind it. The other thing is right now, it's not affecting Jackson. It's only affecting me. If it was to the point of affecting Jackson, my pain, then I would figure it out, suck it up, and go. But right now, it's only affecting me, and I feel like I can handle it. Because honestly, they're forcing me to get an ultrasound for a consultation. Like that's all I'm getting is a consultation. There's no guarantee that this doctor is even going to be able to like come up with a solution or something better that works besides the medication my doctor's already trying, which does work enough for me to move around on days that the pain's really bad. So I just kind of want to explain why I'm like, just no. And I do not want to take on that kind of debt. It's like, yes, I can make a payment plan, but then I am in medical debt. And you guys have been with us for a while, know how we feel about having debts. So, yeah. The other thing is, I finally got a hold of that specialist and found out that the appointment itself would be $200. And they said, oh, but your insurance. I'm like, no, my insurance is not going to cover it. They're going to say the same thing they said about the ultrasound. I have not met my deductible. So we're looking at $900 they're going to bill me about for that I have to start making payments on. Now, here's another big thing. Right now, we are saving so that when the hospital calls to get their money before I even check in, yes, they do that. I have the over $1,000 I need for that. So, explaining that to you guys, just what's going on with that. I did tell my doctor's nurse today, if something is directly affecting Jackson, it becomes an issue with his safety, then I will figure it out. But right now, me just being in pain, I do not justify, like I cannot justify spending that $900 in debt just to have an appointment, just to talk about it with a specialist. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's that little update on that. I think I mentioned earlier it's going to be a long vlog. I just wanted to mention it again. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is I'm trying to think which I should do first. Let me address this to people that are outside the US that have asked me questions about deductibles. I know a lot of people that just left comments like, oh my God, I'm so glad we live in the UK and all stuff. I'm sure like you guys probably have heard about this because I know I saw at least one person. I've been reading comments. Tonight I'm sitting down to answer them, but I've also heard about like people's friends in the US talking about their medical debt and bills they got. So I know some of you guys know about it, but I want to address like the emails or messages I've gotten about it directly, just because it's easier for me to do it in a video than sit down and type it over and over again. In the US, right now, the new law is you have to have insurance. If you do not have insurance, they basically like tax you or fine you or whatever. So yeah, that I don't agree with. Forcing us to buy something and then penalizing us for not buying it is very unconstitutional to me. And Justin feels the same way. That part we do not agree about. Like I just don't agree with it. I don't. So anyways, that's the shitty part of the healthcare reform. I'm not going to get into that. So another thing about the healthcare reform is while there are a few things on there that I'm like, great, that actually helps somehow. Like I will give it that. There are some things that are better because of it, but for the most part, it benefits the insurance companies more than it does employers who pay for it and like people who need it. It does not benefit us the way it benefits insurance companies. If anything, it protects insurance companies more. So, oh Lord have mercy. All right, we used to have what is called like a copay. A copay is like when I go to the doctor and my copay, my fee is $20 to see a regular doctor, $40 to see a specialist, $80 to go to the emergency room. It's like a flat rate. During that appointment, if I need blood work, if I need x-ray, whatever, that's all covered in my copay under that appointment. And I pay my insurance monthly to have insurance, okay? Now, once the Obamacare took over, a year before the healthcare reform, our insurance through Justin's work switched over to the way they were going to have to switch over when healthcare reform took over, because I don't like this part. I could be wrong about because I don't like have the insurance stuff or whatever. Justin knows about it and I will ask him, and probably if I'm incorrect, I will make some kind of note on it on the video. If you still have the kind of copay insurance, or what I just want to call now good insurance, government's classifying it as a Cadillac plan. And to my understanding, either his company would, I don't know if it's a fine or taxed more or what it is, but it's almost like they get penalized for carrying the Cadillac plan for their employees as an option. So his company dropped it. So what we have now is like a deductible plan with a health savings account. We were, when we had that, so, and a deductible meaning our deductible is $6,000 for a family. It doesn't matter if there's 2 people in your family, 5 people in your family, it's $6,000. And it's really hard as a couple to meet a $6,000 deductible. It's incredibly ridiculous and insane. And in the past couple of years has been like, it's just like we never meet it. And it's almost like not having insurance at all, except I'm paying for insurance. I'm paying for insurance that won't cover anything till I spend $6,000 of my own dollars. And it was very frustrating because it's like, then you're almost in the same position as people that don't have insurance, where you don't go to the doctor because you can't afford it. Because when you go to the doctor, after everything they tally up, they're going to be like, oh, please give me $800. And it's like, where am I going to get $800 from? And the doctors and stuff, they don't play now. Like, if you want to see the doctor, unless you walk into an ER and you have like some life-threatening emergency, unless you pay up, they're like, sorry, can't help you. You know what I mean? There is not, especially with the kind of doctors I go to, there's not that we're going to bill your insurance and see what they pay kind of thing anymore. It's like, no, we know this is your part. You haven't met your deductible, pay up. So it almost is doing harm to people because they don't have that kind of money. We're already paying our insurance monthly and we don't have that kind of money to go to the doctor. So then you kind of start neglecting your health for things you would have gone to the doctor for, but now you don't, because it's like, it's going to be an ass ton of money. Their solution to that is our health savings account. We put a huge amount of money into our health savings account, as much as we can take out of a paycheck that it can stay within our budget. But it's never enough. Like, it's just never enough, because it's like every time you go to the doctor for a cold, you can't walk out of there without spending $500 or something crazy. And it's like, I just went in there for a cold or something, So it's like you can't ever keep money in it to build it to help you meet your deductible, if that makes sense. And the thing about it is, it's your money. It comes from your paycheck. You're paying for that too. The only thing is they're like, oh, but the government can't tax this. So it's real fucked up. I'm just going to leave it at that. So previously, the past 2 years, we had the $6,000 deductible, and we had to fully meet $6,000 at some point in the year for the insurance to start paying 80% of everything. And unlike the copay, okay, where you go in there and you go to your appointment and it's all just kind of covered under that appointment and your copay, you go in there once you've met the 80-20, which means the insurance is paying 80% of everything and you're paying 20 after you've met your deductible. So you go in there and it's like, okay, I went to the doctor for this thing, and he's like doing blood work, and he does like 6 separate tests out of my blood work plus the appointment. So I'm paying 20% of the appointment. Insurance is paying 80. Then for each test or blood work that I got, I'm paying 20% of each single test. So again, it's not all encompassing like it used to be or anything like that. And that's really frustrating as well. So while, the insurance is paid 80%, you still pay 20% of every single thing they do to you. Then let's see. So I hope that kind of explains that to you guys. This year, our insurance did try to change something to where, because I'm sure they got a lot of complaints. It's very hard to come up with $6,000 in a year worth of medical bills unless you need surgery or something crazy, and they bill your insurance and you're able to make payments on it. It's just like, that's about the only circumstance I can think of that you're actually going to meet that deductible, because little appointments here and there where they're asking you for $1,000 here or $500 here or $200 there. That's what really gets people, because it's like there's no billing and you can make payments. It's like you show up to the appointment and they want their money. So this year, the one thing they did change was they split the $6,000 in between the people in your family, I think, or I don't know. I feel like it's a little under $3,000, and they're changing it to a personal deductible per family. So, okay, for instance, I just paid my doctor $3,000 for my labor and delivery, and I'll explain that fee in a minute. I just paid them for that. And while if they would put it through to my insurance right now, I would have met my personal deductible, which is the new thing they're doing. And that means I can switch over to 80-20 without having to spend the whole $6,000. So that is good. I wish we'd had it last year because we probably would have met it in 2015 with all Jackson's bills that we had earlier on. But unfortunately, the thing is, like, then say I've met mine and I go to the doctor, I'm paying 80/20. Justin's sick, he goes to the doctor, he's still paying 100%. Now if I go to the doctor enough, even once I hit 80/20 and I get to $6,000, then my whole family's covered. Or if Justin reaches his, I reach mine, or the whole family as a whole reaches 6, then it goes to 80/20 for the whole family. I hope that makes sense. And we used to not have, a lot of people have a yearly deductible. Like if you spend this much, then absolutely everything the rest of the year is covered by insurance. I'm sorry, Ralph's just like, oh, he wants me to hold his bone while he chews it and he's slobbering all over me. I don't even know what I was saying. Oh, we used to not have that, and now we have it finally. But it's really, 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 really high to get to that. And yeah, I don't remember the exact number is now, but that is just something new we had, because before we didn't have that. We had a lifetime max, and when people I know would be like, oh, thank God I hit my yearly deductible so the insurance pays everything, then I was just like, I don't know what that's like. I can't even hit my regular deductible because our insurance deductible is extremely ridiculous and has been, and I'm glad it at least switched to the way it did this year. So yeah, if I, with my hospital bill and stuff, if somehow this year we reach our yearly deductible, I'm just going to be telling my family doctor that expect to see me every week, because I'm going to get everything done that I probably should have been doing over the past 2 years, and specialists I need to see and all that stuff. So I hope that kind of explains it for you guys, like what a deductible is and all that crap here in the US. It's shitty. It's really shitty. So I think I kind of covered all of that. Now I wanted to talk about when you have a baby, the kind of bills you have coming in. Because I always thought when you left the hospital is when they sent the bill, but now they give you a bill before you even go into the hospital. We'll get to that in a second. It's another joy of pregnancy. One thing that I just want to say that truly was not annoying, just like think about what you're saying, is when you're dealing with infertility and you're paying for all that infertility stuff, which rarely does any insurance company ever pay for any kind of infertility. And you will hear, like, if your friend's going through that, like how difficult it is with the medical bills and stuff. And sometimes people will be like, well, having a baby is expensive. Yes, most people are aware of that. But at some point you hit a deductible, or, oh, hello. We have our lights attached to our alarm system, so nothing weird just happened, like supernatural. The lamp just came on from the alarm system. So yeah, it's like there's two things that go into that. One is absolutely nothing is ever going to go towards your deductible with infertility stuff because the insurance company doesn't cover it. So you're not even paying towards that. But the other thing is there are a few things that they do cover, even if you haven't met your deductible with pregnancy, that help out. And there is a point where you meet your deductible and the insurance is helping. So there is a big, big, big difference. And it's kind of, you kind of want to like smack somebody in the face for being that snarky about it, because what they don't realize is, like, yeah, if I could have had a baby for free, which technically I ended up getting pregnant for free after 3.5 years, but even then I was still taking metformin, which helped give me a cycle, which helped made me ovulate every month. So even then I was still having to buy a medication. You know, it was probably a combination of things, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's just really like snarky, because it's like, yeah, congratulations, you got to have a baby for free. So that kind of sticker price after you've been through everything costly with infertility. Like if I had just had a normal pregnancy, not progesterone issues because of my PCOS, not, you know, having to see a specialist that my insurance wouldn't cover the first 13 weeks that cost us $4,000. In the first 13 weeks of Jackson's life, it cost us $4,000 to sustain my pregnancy and stay with that specialist. So it's just like people need to think before they speak. And I just wanted to put that out there that like people that are going through that are well aware that pregnancy costs money. But what you have to understand is there is some point where insurance helps. There's points where you have deductibles and at least stuff's going towards your deductible. So I just want to put that out there just because I feel like people should know that. You're not being helpful by saying that, and you would not understand fully unless you were in those shoes. So yeah, just gonna put that out there because y'all know, even though I'm pregnant finally, I'm not gonna let that part of my life, infertility and what I went through, go, because I still want to support people that are still going through it. All right, so let's get to baby costs. For me, when I got pregnant, it was not normal. Like twice a week to once a week, I was at the doctor's office getting blood work, ultrasounds weekly, sometimes two, medications, all the stuff to sustain my pregnancy, and being monitored very heavily. So I'm just not going to count that cost in, but it was around $4,000 the first 13 weeks. So, but I'm just telling you guys, that's what I went through as somebody who has PCOS and has had high risk and previous miscarriage. That's that. So let's pretend you just have a normal, healthy pregnancy, and that is amazing and awesome. When you start going to the doctors, if you haven't met your deductible, you're going to have to pay for your appointment and ultrasound. And I don't remember what point it is that they gave me my labor and delivery bill. Maybe my third appointment, they gave me my labor and delivery bill. And so, like I said, if you have not gotten your deductible met for the year and you don't have like a copay plan, you are going to have to pay for those ultrasounds and stuff out of pocket. So that's a cost to consider. Let's see. So at some point earlier on in your pregnancy, they're going to give you a labor and delivery bill, and they're either going to give you a payment plan option, which is ridiculous. It was like $5 something, almost $600 a month. And they expect you to pay it by a certain month. For my doctor, it was by the time I was 7 months pregnant that it needed to be paid off. Otherwise, the doctor drops you. And mine was $3,000. And what that covers is the doctor showing up when you're in labor, delivering your baby vaginally or via C-section, and your appointments, and also your blood work is going to be put towards your deductible probably. Some of it ends up being covered, and I don't know if it's under the health reform or just like general health stuff, but some of my blood work was covered, which I much appreciated. But sometimes certain tests were not, that are for other people, so it just depends on your insurance. But so factor that in, especially if you have insurance like mine that never wants to pay for anything. But I don't have those exact numbers in front of me. So you get that bill. My decision, and the thing is, if you want to continue care with your doctor every month, you have to at least be making those payments. So, I mean, that's like more than my car note what the payments plans were. So I opted to pay cash in 2 payments, because when mine had to start, I was like, I'll just pay it at the end of the month, and then I'll pay it 2 weeks later. So it was, I don't know, I just would rather pull that money out that I had been saving and spend it on that in whole and not worry about payments. So it just depends on what you can do. But basically, if you can't make that payment or you don't meet it by 7 months, you can lose your doctor. And that would suck, but it's just the reality of it. So there is that. That cost also covers your appointments. Like me going to see my doctor, like face to face with her, from my understanding, and I'm sure it's like this for everyone, I don't know, but the actual time I get with her in person is covered through that. But like tests and stuff like that still go to my deductible. But within that $3,000 is kind of like my fee I have for her to take care of me up until labor. So that's what mine covers, at least. I'm pretty sure it's the same for everyone. But anyways, so let's see. But I think if you have something wrong, like and you make an appointment, I don't know if that's covered under that. I haven't had that happen yet. All my appointments have been the ones they scheduled. So I'm not sure about that. That's one thing that I don't know about. There is, before you even go to the hospital, once you registered and you're getting close to your due date, the hospital calls you and asks for your part of the labor and delivery for your hospital bill. So they basically bill you for what would be an average, like vaginal birth with no medications, like no epidural or anything like that. They go check your insurance to see if you've met your deductible, and they figure out how much your insurance is going to be covering. And for instance, Crystal, when she had Liam, she had met her deductible. And another thing about that $3,000, sorry, I'm backtracking, is I paid that, right? But it won't get billed to my insurance and show that I paid that until Jackson's here. So it doesn't help my deductible at all right now. I'm hoping the hospital takes that into consideration when they're calculating my bill before they call me before I have him, because if they expect me to pay 100% of that hospital bill, like, I'm going to have a heart attack. So, all right. Where was I? All right. So, Crystal, she had met her deductible. And I think they asked her to pay $1,500. Yeah, I think it was $1,500. So she had to pay that before she even walked in the hospital, before she was even in labor. They call you and they ask for it and they expect it. So, and then they tell you that if you have an epidural, if you have extra costs in the hospital, extra tests, if you end up with a C-section, you're going to get a bill after birth for that too. But the upfront thing is just, let's assume you have a normal, non-medicated birth. To my knowledge, I think I'm saying that right. So let's just erase everything I spent, like the money I spent with the specialist my insurance wouldn't cover, okay? So for me, if let's say I got $1,500 too, that would put me at $4,500 for birth-related stuff for having him. So once you go to the hospital and you have him, you're going to get a bill after that for, whatever you had done. So Crystal had a C-section, for instance, and that wasn't covered in the first amount of money they took. So then they billed her for the C-section and all that, the anesthesiologist, all that stuff. She just got a bill in the mail for $22,000. Now it looks like they didn't bill her insurance, so it could be an error, but I don't understand why they would bill her insurance for everything else for Liam's part, because your baby's going to get a bill too. That's another bill. And Liam's bill was around, I think it was $1,500 too. So let's say Jackson's bill is $1,500. What are we at? $6,000 then? I believe. I think my math could be wrong. $6,000. Then let's see. I should meet the deductible for the whole family at that point. Yeah, so that's if my insurance is paying 80%, because that's just your 20%, the 1,500s and stuff. That's just the 20% of it. So if her insurance billed her wrong, like incorrectly, then, and she's only paying 20% of that, and what is $4,000? I don't know, like $4,000 for 20%, 20% of $22,000. You can do the math. So if that was billed wrong, she would be paying only 20% of that. But if that was billed right, then she was $22,000. I'm still not sure on that. That's just what happened and what she got a bill for. So I don't know. I hope it's a mistake, but I'll have to ask her about it. But I hope that breaks it down for you guys. So Lord, I told Justin, I was like, if I'm screaming for an epidural, because I'm not trying to be a hero. If I can't handle it, I'm going to get an epidural. But I really want to last until at least 6 centimeters, so an epidural doesn't slow down my birth at all. Or my labor, my birth. So, I mean, I told him, I was like jokingly, because he would never like expect me to suck it up if I couldn't handle it just because of money. He would never, like, he really doesn't like the idea of me being like, I'm going to try to do it on my own, because he's so scared with my fibro and everything that I'm going to like be in so much pain. Like it comes from like a sweet place where he worries about me or something happening to me or it being too much. So, but I told him, I was like, if they try to get me, because I feel too like epidural, Pitocin, like, you know, epidural can slow your birth sometimes, and then Pitocin can kind of like make things worse. Then you end up in a C-section. Not always. I've had friends that it all worked out and their labor wasn't long, but like with Crystal, she was in like active labor, and I feel like the epidural kind of slowed it down for her. And then they had to add Pitocin, and 19 hours later, she was in a C-section. So I'm going to try to hold out, but the point is I told Justin, can you just whisper like $22,000, $22K in my ear if I'm screaming for an epidural? Maybe that'll help me get through a little longer. And I'm totally joking. Like, you know, if he knows that if someone's not getting attention, they're happy because mommy's been vlogging for 30 minutes. Oh, poor Ralph. Anyways, yeah, I'm totally joking. He wouldn't expect that of me. I just thought it was funny, but I do get really scared that little interventions and stuff like that can lead you to a C-section, and they don't always. Like, I'm not trying to be some hippie about it. Like, they don't always. I've had friends that they helped them, they still had a vaginal birth, or sometimes you just have to have a C-section, and there's no wrong or right way to have a baby. It's whatever's best for you, for the baby, what the doctor says. Everyone's body's different. We all labor differently. So I'm just saying I'm going to try to last. But I've talked about this in a video that'll be coming out where I answered questions. Like I said, not trying to be a hero. So we'll just see. I feel like that's not something you can control. You just have to be in it to find out what the situation ends up being. Anyways, I'm going to end this and finish cleaning. I just want to give you guys kind of some information, answer some questions. But a lot of times, if you've not been pregnant or you don't know a lot of people that have been pregnant and you like hear how expensive birth is, I thought it would be easy to break it down for people that are curious about it, because you just hear about it, but you never know what the costs are and stuff. So anyways, I hope that helped, and I hope my friends that are outside the US and I hope my friends, sorry, my camera cut off. That's what happens when you vlog too long. I hope my friends that are outside the US now kind of have a better understanding of the healthcare system, or like what a deductible is and all that stuff. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.